Hi everybody, Russ and my Hammers 11. Hope you're all safe and well from this channel. Please consider subscribing, hitting the bell icon so you may do it anytime we put new content on. Today's guest, well, we just spoken beforehand, and I think I've had most of his office on, so it's only a matter of time before we got Mark on. For those you don't, Mark Phillips, under 18 coach for 14 years, but more importantly, a lifelong Hammer. How are you doing, Mark? How are you, man?
Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Obviously, like a bit weird in lockdown sort of thing. We're not in work and that sort of thing, but we see every game, which is a bit of a consolation, I suppose. We actually can't go to the game, but we can watch every game sort of stuff, like which is
and you probably get a better view anyway. and it's a lot warmer.
You do. You can see the good and the bad. I won't elaborate on that, but sometimes you can actually see every little thing that maybe should have been done when it wasn't. So there you go.
And you can, and obviously, from a coach's perspective, obviously you can switch off the fake crowd noise and you can hear what old Moisey and Kevin, that lot of shouting on the sidelines, which is quite fun.
I have to say, when I'm watching West Ham, I'm just a fan. I forget I'm a coach. I'm just a West Ham supporter, you know what I mean? And I won't go into it here, but I can be a bit, sometimes in my own mind, a bit critical of the team. Sort of thing.
Yeah, well, I think everyone is. It's an opinion thing. Football's about opinions, isn't it? So, it's one of those things.
I could sit down and watch a game. I could watch Man United v Man City and watch it as a coach. You know what I'm saying? But when I'm watching us, I'm just like, you'd think I was a lunatic when I'm watching us. Actually,
Yeah. No, I get that. And also, from watching from a coach, I mean, I've been fortunate to watch some games with like pros and stuff, and it's true. People say people watch the game differently than the normal fan, isn't it? In terms of from a technical perspective, and so
I mean, even the people we spoke about earlier that I work with, like Kev Keane and Steve Potts and that, who are West Ham legends. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
they'll look at it differently to me. Although Steve loves West Ham.
Yeah. I'm
such a fan. It's just not. I won't look at the process of why we're doing things wrong. I just think we're doing things wrong and just shout and scream. That's not on the side of the pitch, the 18s. I mean, that's when I'm watching the first team.
Yes, I'd say. But we're doing all right at the moment. First team, not bad.
Yeah, they're doing well. No, we're doing well. I mean, they're doing very well. I mean, I won't go into the nitty-gritties of things. We could be doing better, I think, if there's certain elements we're in there. But no, we are doing well. We're definitely solid and very hard to break down and beat without a shadow of a doubt.
Oh, definitely. And I think what I like about us is that sort of solidity, that sort of, I mean, even the Brighton game, it's funny that you get two draws, like the Brighton game and the Southampton game. The Brighton game, we were unhappy with a draw. Southampton, we were happy about a draw. It's weird, isn't it? And with that Brighton game, what I like about us now is we don't seem to give up. Do you know what I mean? Even like 2-0, 2-3 seasons ago, we'd have lost that game 2-3-0, no problem.
The perception of we should be Brighton at home. That's why we're thinking like that wasn't a good result, and maybe Southampton away is a good point. But I agree with you. I think the Tottenham game shows everything about resilience. You're 3-0 down in the 82nd minute. Let's be fair. Even the most optimistic West Ham fan in the world, which I'd like to think I am, even I didn't fancy us for 82 minutes. That just shows you. I mean, that was a fantastic result.
It was, and it looks like it's a goal in us. Do you know what I mean? Although we didn't score yesterday, we could have easily, as you said, he could have easily won that game yesterday.
Well, the funny thing is, I didn't jump up because I thought we'd already handballed it. I thought he handballed it. And it was all sort of hanging about in the box, and he was fighting for it. I thought Ben Rama handballed it, so I wasn't. Even if he'd have scored, it'd have been gone. And I'm not being biased. We never seem to get the rub of VAR.
No.
So they've got to be taking off for a kickoff for me to celebrate these days.
Yeah, that's the same. That's the same though, isn't it? It's now you don't celebrate until the other team's kicked off now.
That's how we could have won it. I just thought if it had been played back, he might have touched his hand.
Yeah, I think you're right. There was it did look a bit dubious, but I mean, I remember when we started, like obviously from restart last year, we started playing the goal music in the stadium because otherwise it's a bit flat, isn't it? I know there's no one there, but it's like someone. And the first time I pressed it was like when Souček scored against Chelsea, and that got rubbed off for VAR, and it's like, well, that's I haven't done it for 20 years, and the first time I've played goal music, it's been disallowed.
Cut the music, fella. Cut the music. We ain't scored.
It's weird, isn't it? It's weird how you can't really celebrate until they've kicked off, but. Yeah, but yeah, it's one of those things you'd like to see it even itself out, but I haven't seen it even itself out to us just yet.
No, obviously, being West Ham fans, all we're looking for is to even itself out. And
Yeah.
I mean, you look at Dex last year against Sheffield United and things like that. You know, still rankles with me, if I'm honest. So,
yeah, it does. And then you see when, like, obviously Brighton with a dunk goal, and that was a handball. It's like, well, okay, I don't understand how one can be one and one can't be the other. But yeah,
again, me being cynical, saying, "No, as it's West Ham, I bet they give it. I bet they give it," and they did. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, and then when you see you got like, I know, Michael Oliver and all these on the full, you go, oh, that's it, we ain't got nothing today.
Yeah, you know, I look who it is. I go, oh no, he hates West Ham.
We all think they all hate West Ham, and it's so funny. But no, it's all.
Go on. I'll go to. I normally do the Hong Kong Sevens every year. We take a team, we have 20, and there's always like the Premier League refs out there, and we end up the last night all going out. I'm always into them. I say, you hate West Ham. You always bias against West Ham. I know we hate. I said, you are.
So it's your fault, Mark. You haven't bought that last Saki.
The next season they're going to balance it out. Remember what I've said, but they never do.
Just that element of doubt in their mind. Or I don't know, because there's this time in the bar with Mark Phillips in Hong Kong. Shall I give it? I
remember one year Kevin Friend was out there. I actually probably give him a right. He went, I'll leave it. He went, I'll tell you what, next year I'm going to give West Ham a penalty. He never did. Never did.
Oh, dear. Oh, brilliant. Oh, God. But that's the thing. I mean, you know, we've obviously, you know, Christmas, so many games happening. As you said, it's like literally every day, every hour, it seems to be a football match on at the moment, isn't it? It's ridiculous, to be honest.
I mean, after Friday, we've got, I think it's like 10, 11 days rest, haven't we, before the Stockport game? So obviously, like, get people back. And
well, if we don't have a circuit breaker, you know, there's talk of the circuit breaker.
Yeah, there is. I heard it was a circuit breaker with the Premier League. I don't know if the FA Cup's involved in that or how it works.
I don't know. It worries. I mean, I think it'd be good to do something, because I think yesterday they said on Amazon Prime that something like 7 out of the 12 League One games got called off because of COVID, and obviously there's no restrictions for the lower leagues in terms of the testing. Of the Premier League, no, of the test.
And it also where I live, I mean, I live in Essex. We are the epicenter. It's all around.
We are. We're the epicenter. BBC website today, it's like an incident zone. It's like, oh God, I'm kicking my back in. It's weird, especially when you open the doors. And I was like, I'm in the middle of Hornchurch. I'm not in the epicenter. I'm coming in the epicenter of the coronavirus new variant.
You are fighting to get outside the front door, but you know what can you do? I mean, I know you sort of glossed over when I said our next game is against Stockport. I was there that night, actually.
Do you know what? I can imagine, right, when that draw happened, I imagine Ian Dowie sitting at home, hands behind his back. What? Stockport West Ham? Bollocks. And then he gets the old royalties in for the older clips, doesn't he? But yeah. No, I think what worries me about the Stockport game is and the whole FA Cup is obviously the Premier League clubs mixing with the non-league, with the League 1, 2, and various others, because they don't get tested. And that's the trouble. We have the Carabao Cup, wasn't it? And it's like the Premier League. So I think West Ham paid or offered to pay Hull to get all their teams tested, and same with Charlton. And so it's all a bit weird, and I don't like it, the fact that, you know, all these players, we're already getting games called off in the Premier League already. So
I mean, I'm definitely not a doctor by any way, shape or form, but I mean, it does seem like it's everywhere. And this second wave, I know loads of people who have had COVID, or some of their families had COVID, so it is all over the gaff, you know what I mean, sort of stuff. So I think the circuit breaker might be a decent idea, but
it's just when, in it, and whatever happens, it won't benefit West Ham. So it's like, you know, it never benefits West Ham.
The VAR on the circuit breaker will work against us in some way.
Somehow.
I mean, it's like the Man City thing the other night. Everton had a rest, didn't they? Because they didn't have a game, and then we got to play them on Friday.
It's so West Ham, isn't it? That's the first thing we all say.
I always look at it though, because we are the special club in the world. They've always got all these little things against us, because we are a special team.
Well, it adds the nuance of being a West Ham fan, doesn't it, Mark? Really, in terms of we are a unique bunch of fans.
Yeah, no, I've always thought that, and I still do, sort of thing. Like, and that's why we have our own sort of axe to grind against any little decisions.
Anything. The world's against us, you know. World's against us, but no, it is. And talking about that, so you say you're obviously a West Ham fan. You know, why are West Ham? Why are you West Ham? Why was it your club then, Mark?
My dad's a massive Queen's Park Rangers fan. My dad came from
Okay.
Sheffield, Bush's QPR, and my mum was a West Ham fan. And I used to go QPR with my dad when I was, he takes you to football. And then his friend took me to the Bobby Moore. My first game was a Bobby Moore testimonial. 3-3 draw with Celtic in 1970. And I went to West Ham, and that was it for me. I'm West Ham ever since, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
and as you were saying before you started, late 70s to 90s, you were pretty much over the way.
I'd say when I was old enough to go, I mean, from probably 76, 77 onwards, I'd go home and away every game. That's what I'd done.
Yeah.
I just went to West Ham like when I football. I mean, there was I can't remember the actual times. There were seasons. Some seasons I didn't miss a game all season and stuff like that.
That's impressive.
I've seen some good and I've seen some average as well.
Yeah, plenty of thick and thin, maybe more thin than thick at West Ham. But again, I think that's why West Ham fans are unique. It's like, I mean, obviously being part of the setup there now, or for many years now. But looking at, I mean, when I started doing this channel, I never really assumed that. I always saw West Ham as sort of quite a sort of London Essex club, really. But we're massive. Honestly, it's incredible. This funny little club in East London has these fans all the way over the world, who'll get up at 4:00 in the morning to watch a West Ham game in Australia. That's mental.
We're actually, as I say, I've been, because I work for the club, I've been lucky enough to go on tournaments and trips around the world. I've been to Hong Kong, I've been to Japan, I've been West Ham fans everywhere. I mean, and all ages, because you think someone like my age or a bit older than me, after the World Cup, we won the World Cup. Obviously, everyone knows West Ham won the World Cup, the only club to do so. So obviously, like, you'd think we'd have got some fans from that sort of stuff, which obviously we did. But then even younger fans, and no, West Ham as a club. Can you imagine if we'd have had some success in the last?
I know, that's the scary thing, isn't it? Because you imagine where we would be. Do you know what I mean?
That's mad. It is crazy, but. Would you honestly really like us to be like a Man City or a Chelsea? It's not us. It ain't us.
We would lose that unique characteristic of being a West Ham fan, where I'm not being funny. Our big war song is about things fading and dying, fortunes always hiding. We always seem to be up against it, but that's our part of our fabric, isn't it? And I think if we were as successful, if we did, end up being like a Man City or whatever and winning everything, I think you'd lose that identity.
I mean, when we do have, I'll say, small amounts of success, say the year we had in '86 when we come third, we couldn't get in the ground. Like even the Intertoto Cup, the night in Metz, I wouldn't give that up for one of the best. No. So anything that teams like, I mean, it makes me laugh when teams like Arsenal go, we haven't won the league for so many years. We've never won the league. Don't worry about
Leeds.
No, it's just ridiculous.
We celebrate being third.
And they talk about loyalty of fans, and they're going about Newcastle fans and this fan. No one is as loyal as West Ham fans. I'm telling you, West Ham fans are the loyalist in the country, if not the world. It's really,
it's so true. You were looking. I was talking to someone the other day. He was looking through the league and going like, Liverpool fans, obviously they had success, then they had a little crap bar, and then they're back in, Man United had a lot of success, and now it's Man City. Everyone's had that sort of period of success. Everton, and then it comes, and then you go to, and then we're next. Then it's like, we finished third. We finished third in '86. That's what we used to talk about. It's like
we remember it well, but that's what I'm saying. But look at the still out there, the support we get, the away support. And that support is unbelievable. When you think, can you think about like people who haven't I don't want to mention Tottenham, but other teams will go, oh, we haven't won this, we haven't done it. I mean, welcome to our world. You know what I mean? We're there through thick and thin.
Yeah.
That's what we're about.
And it's like now, when Arsenal, I know they won a couple on the spin now, but when they were like 15th or 16th, and it was like their world had collapsed. And it's like, not being funny, we'd have given our right arm at the beginning of the season to finish 16th in the season, as long as we don't go down, and it's like, it was nice to sort of think, oh, we're not the worst team in London at the moment, and we weren't, and we still won't be for a long time, I don't think. But it's funny when it's their term, and it's like Tottenham, innit? It's like when Tottenham are top of the league, and then like, oh yeah, we're going to win the league, and we're like, no, you're not. No, you're not. And now they're like 8th or whatever now, isn't it? It's ridiculous. It's just. I've got to be honest with you,
it was a bit of a worry when they was top of the league, and I was going, no, you're so negative. You're thinking, oh, they actually could. It's horrible.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
remember it. I couldn't handle
I
it.
was yeah, but you know, if it was Tottenham and then they had to like win the game, I know, to win the league, and they're playing West Ham, they know no chance. Sorry, mate. Sorry, no. It'd be lasagna gate all over again. But yeah,
Without a shadow of a doubt.
oh, that was crazy. I remember that game. That was just the weirdest game because it was always going to get called off, wasn't it? There was talk about it getting called off because all these players were sick, and they go, "No, we're playing it," and they played it, and they were, characters all throw up on the pitch, and it was a weird day. But
we've got a bit of an habit of sort of end of season. I mean, like when we stopped Man United winning the league,
yeah,
and things like that.
yeah.
We have got that in us. We're that sort of thing. We have got that in us. And I mean, we'll go to Chelsea when we not the other night, obviously, but we'll go to Chelsea. We'll nick a result with Chelsea when no one's expecting it. We'll nick a result with Man United to stay up and things like that. We're that sort of. As I said, we are a special club.
Yeah, we are. We're sort of this scrapper in it, and that's why when the fixtures came out at the beginning of the season, it was like, oh god, we're playing all these top teams. But that's when we turn up. That's when we scrap a game, we scrap a point, we scrap a victory, and it was quite good playing them all in one big hit because it was like we kept the momentum going. And
I always think Sky's against us as well. They're another mob against us. But like when we lost to Newcastle and we didn't play particularly well that day,
we didn't.
They was all going, look at West Ham's fixtures, they're not going to get a point. And they was loving it. They was getting right. We're not going to get a point. They got all these games and we've got quite a few points. So there you go.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny, they do say in gritted teeth, oh, look at West Ham, potential Europe contenders. It's like yesterday, even Amazon were like, they were watching, Southampton, West Ham, they could both have, aspirations of getting into Europe.
The whole build-up was about Southampton winning. It was all about Southampton.
Yeah.
We were just an opponent in the corner. Don't worry about West Ham. It was all, and that is quite often the case, I think. It also really rankles with me. I'm not getting the soapbox here. When we'll play Arsenal, they'll have Alan Smith, right, as the pundit. He ain't biased enough, is he? Can't we have Tony Gow or Tony Cotty there? You know what I'm saying? Always someone who's against West Ham.
Yeah, or they get someone like, God bless him, someone like Patrice Evra, he played for about 6 months. Yeah. It's like, well, that doesn't really count.
He's Man United for although he has come back to train a few times to keep himself fit, actually. But I wouldn't say West Ham's his club.
But it was funny. It's like they spent like yesterday with the Amazon stuff, and they spent more time talking about Huselos. No, Ralph, whatever his name is.
The geezer with COVID,
doing it on the toilet than anything else. They didn't have an interview with Moisey as much as they did about him on the toilet. Do you know what I mean?
I think Amazon, BT, Sky, a lot of them have got an agenda for a certain game. Right, we're going to go down this. It's going to be about Danny Ings today. Or it's going to be about this, and it should be a broader spectrum about what's West Ham bringing to the party. Blah blah blah. They just go down one sort of narrative all the time.
Yeah, I mean they should have been talking about Craig Dawson. They shouldn't be talking about Danny Ings.
They should have been talking about West Ham's under-18s winning a Youth Cup game for the first time in 8 years. What's the matter with them?
It's the agenda gone mad, Mark, isn't it? Political agenda's gone mad. But yeah, and they picked Danny Ings, and then Danny Ings for the first time ever in the Premier League didn't have a shot in the box or touch the ball in the box. First time ever in his career in the Premier League, apparently.
It is dangerous though. When I saw him on the team sheet, I thought, oh no.
Well, I thought he was out. I didn't realise he was out. I thought, and then he's like one of those. Danny Ings is always one of those I'm worried about. And then obviously when Shane Long came on, Shane Long's one of those ones like Callum Wilson always seems to score against us. I was like, oh.
Well, West Ham for our history, you've always got the one. If someone hasn't scored for like 30 years, they're breaking their duck against us. It's always the case.
Well, Southampton hadn't won the last game of the year in the league for like 10 years or something like that, and it's like, oh, here we go. And also Craig Dawson has never made a mistake which has led to a goal in the Premier League or something like that in his career, and then within 10 minutes he let Danny Ings in to score, and then he got disallowed. I was like, welcome to West Ham. There we go, Craig.
Well, he got a clean sheet yesterday, I suppose.
You're right, did well.
I think that stat was made by Dawson himself.
Yeah.
Who's going to go back and look over every game?
There will be someone, though. There will be someone, Mark. We've got a lot of spare time in our hands at the moment. It could be a lot more spare time coming up in the next couple of days. So, it's all good. And then, obviously, West Ham fan, and then, obviously, a coach. And then you became West Ham under-18. You got in the coaching setup at West Ham 14 years ago. How did that happen?
I used to. I played played myself, played semi-pro football myself, sort of stuff. And then I got into coaching. I used to coach, for free. I used to coach grassroots level Sunday mornings. And we took a team called in Hornchurch, funny enough, a team called Pegasus, and we took a team to Arsenal. And now I was doing the under 12s of Pegasus, and we played Arsenal's under 11s. That's how it would work, because obviously they're at a professional standard. Yeah. And Pegasus beat them 2-1. And Steve Bold actually said, "Who coaches this team?" And they said, "Oh, that fella there, blah, blah, blah." And he said, "Oh, would you be having any interest in coming in and working with Arsenal?" And I said, "Nah, I'm West Ham." I said, "Well, I want to work for Arsenal for a West Ham supporter." He said, "No, it's a route into the professional game, blah, blah, blah." I said, "I don't know if I could have an Arsenal shirt, and I'm not really sure." He said, "Well, give it some thought." And then another fella rang me from Arsenal, and I went in that pre-season, and I was at Arsenal for 3 seasons. And I have to say, enjoyed it. I had no allegiance to their first team whatsoever. They used to say, "Oh, do you want your 2 tickets? If you're a coach, you get 2 tickets. Do you want your 2 tickets?" I went, "No, not at all. I've got no interest. I'm a West Ham fan, you know what I mean? So I'm not going. I'm going West Ham." Yeah. And so I worked there for 3 years, and then Tony Carr rang me up. And I thought it was one of my mates, actually.
Yeah.
Because I was a London taxi driver for 20 years, and I'm driving in the cab, and the phone's gone, and they said, "Is that Mark?" I said, "Yes." It's Tony. I said, "Tony who?" I said, "Tony Carr." And it's the sort of thing we mates would do for a wind-up, you know.
Yeah.
"We want you to come and work at West Ham." I said, "Yeah, who is this?" They said, "What do you mean it's Tony Carr?" I said, "Stop messing about. I'm busy. I'm at work." He said, "No, it's Tony Carr, West Ham United." And I thought, it actually sounds like him, actually. I want to come in for an interview, and that was that, really.
Oh wow! And that's like, I mean, for a coach and a fan, it must be like your absolute dream job.
Oh, unbelievable! I mean, it's ridiculous now. I mean, and I look at the phone numbers in my phone, and I'm mates with half of the people I've spent a hell of a lot of money following around the country. It's crazy. I mean, I've met all my idols and everything. It's weird. It is weird. I'm used to it now after 15 years.
Yeah, I can imagine it.
I mean, my favourite ever player was Trevor Booking, and I can remember I was doing a team at the Warwick University at the night tournament, and Trevor Booking come to see the tournament, and he got there early. So I spent half an hour, just me and him, on the side of no one else about, just chatting about football for half an hour to Trevor Booking. He probably wouldn't remember me if I walked past him now. He hasn't got the best memory of faces, Trevor. But for me, it was an unbelievable experience.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what. In a very, very small, like it's obviously 15 years, but it's the same with me. It's like I looked at my phone book the other day. I plugged my phone into my computer in my car, and obviously you get the last dial numbers and the text messages. And I'm looking at who's my last text messages, and it's like I mean, we've been doing this for like 6 or 7 months, and it's like, it's mental. It's like, Harry read that, like, what? When did this happen?
I mean, for when I was going all the time, like, I watched Steve Potts throughout his career. Yeah. He's probably like my closest friend now. Me and my missus go out regularly with his missus. It's quite bizarre. He's like,
funny, isn't it? It's funny how well, isn't it? It's funny how well football is, they say. But as you said, and I think but what I like about the way the West Ham coaching setup is at the moment is every year group's got an ex-player assigned to it, isn't it? I believe, which is, and we've had quite a few of them on, but that's what we need. That's, as you said, that West Hamness, keeping that sort of consistency.
Yeah, I mean, there was a long time that there was only Potsy. There was Potsy, and obviously Kev's come back, Coley's come in, Zab's there, Conchi's there. Yeah. Yeah, no, it is good. I mean, we have a staff game every Friday morning. It's hilarious. I mean, I'm passing there. I'm giving it to Conch. I'm getting it off of Potts. I'm giving it to Coley. It's mad, you know. It's like it's schoolboy stuff for me.
Yeah, it really is. It's incredible.
If you ask me, I'll never give it back to them because I'm useless. But
oh, bless them. Yeah, and that's the great thing. I mean, it seems to be a lot more, and obviously, in the sort of the first team set up, obviously you got Kevin Nolan, you got Piercy, you got some, there's all ex-West Ham players throughout the sort of the setups now, and I just think that's the way that West Ham needs to be set up. There has to be, just to keep that thread going through, particularly when, God forbid, Mr. Noble hangs his shoes up, boots up rather. He's, there's going to be no ex-players in the setup and stuff, and so it's to see
because of Mark's son, Mark's son, and Lenny's in. Mark's quite often at academy nights and things, and he's shown. I mean, he was at an under-18s game, stayed the whole time. He's at a few 23s games. Mark's taken quite a big interest in the academy, actually, which is great for academy coaches to see that, and academy players. It's fantastic, and he's not just playing lip service to it. Mark, he's you know, I've actually known Mark since he was like, you know, obviously quite young,
course,
but like, so. You know, he's very interested in what you're trying to do, why you're trying to do it, what's the reason for that. He's actually taken a big interest in the academy, which is great. He's come through it himself, hasn't he?
Yeah, exactly. And as you said, and there's always been, we've obviously we had Tony Khan as well, you know. So we've had, like, you know, a lot of that academy, you know, obviously what Tony brought to it and stuff like that. And no, it's that's what's important, isn't it?
Tony Khan didn't mention the phone call when I didn't say it.
No, he didn't. He didn't say. You know, he's spoken about, you know, how he started with Alan Kirbishley and Paul Brush at the schoolboys, and they had to change the name. And unfortunately, your conversation didn't come up. I'm really sorry, Mark, in our interview.
No, I'd like to think that now I'm probably one of the only people at the club that Tony still speaks to. Actually, I still speak to Tony. I don't mean he fell out of anyone. He just a bit. I mean, the staff have moved on, and people who knew. I mean, I think. Do you know Paul Heffer? Paul Heffer's still there, who was obviously there with Tony's.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant. Right, let's talk about your 11 now. We're going to do an 11 from your professional career rather than your fan career, because I thought it'd be quite fun. So, you're going to put 11 together of the players that you've coached through your 14 years at the club, and have made it into the big league, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah, the first one. I mean, I was thinking of goalkeepers, and because the goalkeeper was the really awkward one.
Yeah,
the goalkeeper who's probably done the best out of it. He's now the keeper. I think he's on loan at the moment at Swansea. Is Freddie Woodman. Freddie Woodman was at West Ham. I don't know if anyone knew that. Freddie Woodman started his career as an under-10 and under-11 at West Ham United.
Wow!
Because his dad Andy Woodman was the goalkeeping coach, and then he was Alan Pardew's sort of best mate. Then he went to Palace, and he went there with him, and ended up going to Newcastle, and that's where I think Freddie Woodman is now. But when my first team at West Ham United, Freddie Woodman was the goalkeeper.
Wow!
Yeah.
There you go. That's not bad, is it? That's not bad stuff.
I'll pick Freddie Woodman in goal. I mean, I've obviously worked with Nathan Trott and Joseph Anang, who are around it now, sort of thing. Yeah. But Freddie Woodman's career is actually, you know, he's doing quite well. He's in and around. He plays week in, week out for Swansea, and he's been on the bench quite a lot for Newcastle.
Yeah. And with that, we've obviously players that have come and maybe gone. Do you keep an active interest in where they've gone to? Because obviously you spent a lot of time coaching them.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to think that if you had any of the players here, the ones that I was particularly, I speak to most of them as well, still text them and talk to them. I still speak to Josh Cullen, still speak to Reece Burke, Lewis Page, you know, people like Ravel Morrison. I know it's a bit of a controversial one, but.
You like Rav? Oh yeah, he was the one, wasn't he? He was the one that just slipped through the fingers. Bless him, old Rav. But
he's a bit of a misunderstood fellow, Rav. I mean, I'll tell you a quick story about Ravel Morrison. A couple of years ago, my appendix burst, right?
Yeah.
And I ended up in hospital. I had an operation, blah blah blah. And someone I know at Man United happened to bump into Ravel Morrison in Manchester. Told him about it. He's rang me up at 2:00. I'm in the hospital bed. The phone's gone at 2 a.m. Hello, Mark, it's Rav. I've gone, Rav who? He went, Rav. Hello, Rav. I've heard you're not very well. Blah blah blah. Are you all right? I'll come down to see you and all that. That's the sort of fella he is, honestly. He's half off the wall, but he actually is a caring bloke, honestly.
Yeah. And you get that with some players who are so gifted that they are a little bit off the wall, aren't they? Just because. You know, I mean, look at like even not in West Ham, but like people like Gaza and stuff like that, who were just like complete nutters, but they had to be because of what he did on the pitch. It was almost like it's these two sides.
He's in that category. Unfortunately, if he got a few more of his components right, he would be in the midfield for England. I'm telling you, I've never up close seen anyone with more ability than him. And you can ask people. I mean, Jack Collison said the same to me. Everyone who said the same is trained with him. His ability is ridiculous. I mean, I know he isn't. I think he's playing in Den Haag now or something like that. But his ability on the ball was as good as anyone. Anyone, without a doubt.
Yeah. All right. So put Freddie in. Who's next? Then, Mark?
Well, I've gone with a back four.
Yep.
I've gone with Ben Johnson at right back because obviously I had a lot to do with Ben Johnson. He used to be a central midfield player. And I was when he was in the youth team as the first year, me and I'd say me, yeah, could sort of converted him to. He'd agree as well. I converted. I had a long. He didn't want to play fullback at all. He didn't want to play fullback. He wanted to stay in midfield. And I had a long chat with him about, you can play in midfield, but you might be playing in the Ryman's or the Vauxhall Conference. But if you go at fullback, you can have a good career. I didn't know what actually was going to happen, but I said he's a professional footballer, and the rest they say is history. So, so Ben Johnson's been right back.
Yeah.
Then I've got to bear in mind that, particularly as they work with me, not particularly as they are now, the two centre halves I'd have is Reece Burker's one, who's obviously playing at Hull, made a lot of appearances for Hull City.
He did, yeah. And he I mean, even when he went on loan, he was always their sort of player of the season, wasn't he, and stuff like that. He'd always perform.
He went to Bradford and got the loads of players of the season's award. It's not that the reason I've picked him. He's West Ham supporter as well. Comes from East Ham, so he's one of your own. You know what I'm saying? So he's a proper good lad. He's a good. The left-hand side of the defence, I've manoeuvred him in a little bit. It would be Dan Potts. He's a left back, but can play left side centre back.
Yeah.
So Dan Potts there.
There you go.
Again, I'm having people who are all playing in the game today. At left back is Lewis Page, who is now he's now playing for Exeter City. After he was at Charlton for a couple of years, he's always injured. He's a really good lad. He's a really good lad. And every time he played for the youth team, he'd give you 100%. In midfield, as a 2, if you like, holding. I've got Declan Rice as the captain, which he's captain in the first team, so he might as well be captain of my team.
Might as well.
And next alongside him, I'd have Josh Cullen.
Yeah.
Who again, he's West Ham through and through. Not that I'm biased towards people who are West Ham through and through, but I just think he was that close to getting over the line at West Ham. He was close.
It was like another season. It was always with Joshua. It was always another season, wasn't it? Another season.
I mean, I'll see him up close, training week in, week out for a long period of time, and he was a good footballer, believe you me. Or is a good footballer, and he's got in the Anderlecht team. So with Vincent Company being their manager, so you just feel what a good technician he is.
And with Deck particularly as well. Obviously, you've seen him come through, and obviously he's become this player. I think we've just scratched the surface with Declan Rice as a player. I think there's a lot more to come. And obviously, I remember seeing him under 23s and stuff, and he was a centre back and stuff like that. Was he always? I mean, clearly, this sort of midfielder. He's even developed in that role. I think he started off as quite very much a CDM. Now he's almost like a box to box now. He's balling forward. At that early age, clearly he was I remember under 23s, he'd be barking and you'd watch him go, he's basically John Terry. He's like a new John Terry, the way he sort of like commanded. At a younger age, was he like that as well? Was he very much had that leader's role?
When we first signed him as a midfield player. He was a midfield player. And at the time, we had a good sort of I was doing the 15s. I think I was their coach, actually. We had some good players. Joe Powell's now at Burton, Billy Holmes, unfortunately, isn't. And I actually said to Dave Hunt, who brought him in, I don't know what we need this fella for. Why have we brought Deck in? Yeah. And I said it. I said it because he was quite gangly. But even after 2 weeks, my opinion was completely changed. He's an absolute character. He should do like impressions of me, like giving it. Like, he's Mr. West Ham. He's a right funny bloke. I'm telling you. But and then his football come through and he started to grow into his body because a bit like Rio when Rio Ferdinand was 14, 15. Paul Effer always talks about he was very gangly and had to grow into his body, and Deck had to do the same. And then once he did, for me, he got in. He should have got in the 23s before he did. I mean, he played a whole year in the youth team. Between the first year of the youth team, whereas Reece Oxford was gone and playing for the first team and training, Deck was with us. I can remember distinctly. We played a game at Colney against Arsenal. We beat them 5-0 actually. I thought I'd get that mentioned. But it's right next to the Arsenal first team training pitch. So they'd train and they'd come and watch the second half. And Deck was like head and shoulders. He was he's playing centre half. He was fantastic. And Arsene Wenger picked him out. He said that number 6 is going to be a player. He's a footballer. Him. No, he wasn't saying it. He was saying it to another fellow I knew who's an Arsenal coach. He said, I like West Ham number 6. He's a player. So he was right, wasn't he?
He was, yeah. And it's funny, isn't it? I mean, that sort of. I mean, when Mark wasn't playing, there's no hesitation that Deck was going to be captain. And he's like 21, 22. And it's mental when you think about it. It's such a young lad. I mean, you've got Balbuena is Corinthians captain.
It was obviously a bit before my time. I think Bobby Moore was made captain at a young age as well.
Quite possibly.
I think Bobby was a young captain. Some people have just got that stature and that leadership, and Deck's got that without being arrogant, without being flashy, because he really wants it. You know what I'm saying?
And it's just because he's got this boyish charm when it comes to football. Like the interview that we was talking about.
As I say, he's always playing quite often on me. Actually, he likes a practical joke, and he's always ringing me up to pretending to be someone else and stuff. He's an absolute character, and I think that the players really respect him like that.
Yeah, definitely.
But he's humble. Like if you notice, as soon as Mark comes on the pitch, he goes straight up to him, like, "You're the gaffer now." Blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying? So I think he is a popular fella, and he never ever. I mean, he's done fantastic. He's scoring goals for England and everything else. But if I ever want anything or anything like, he always, what do you want, Mark? He always remembers the people that have helped him along the way.
Yeah, definitely. Right, okay. Well, but Deck and Cullen in the middle too. Right, what's next then, Mark?
Right, then we're going to play with three. Wide right, we'll have Marcus Brown, who is now at Middlesbrough. But there was times Marcus Brown was absolutely unplayable for the 23. Yeah. I know it's different. And when he went to Oxford, he was excellent there. And I still think he could have a good career in the game.
Yeah.
So Marcus Brown. In the number 10 role, I've got to have Ravel Morrison, because he was actually but Ravel Morrison sort of trained with me, a little bit by default, because he was a first team player. Yeah. But he was a little bit, he played up a little bit and was sort of banished, if you want, to train with the 18s. But obviously, it was good for us because the boys learnt off of him, to be fair.
Of course.
So in the number 10 role. And then obviously wide left, I'd have Grady Diangana. Not because he comes from my hometown of Woolwich, just because I think Grady's an exceptional talent.
Yeah.
And then there's the centre forward, I'd have had Dylan Tombidis, because if wouldn't have happened what have happened to Dill would have been playing in our first team now.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's one of those things with all of them. It's like, I mean, you look for that team, and it's like they were all, they're all playing, and they're all playing well, and they're all playing in the right league, and it's just one of those things. But I mean, there's so many in there. There's so many who end up going in and going to other clubs and making a great. I mean, Tony did his 11, and Tony's 11 was like, John Terry, Lampard, as you can imagine. And you look at that team, and even now, I mean, even Marcus Brown. I mean, it's funny, isn't it? When I still look out for, like, in the same, I know you do, but when like the names pop up, Mark, he was at West Ham once. Yeah,
I mean, like for me now, if Joe Powell scores or Anthony Scully scores, I'd always text them, and I do keep in contact with them. I mean, I'm forever looking through who's in the team today. Is it anyone I know, like that sort of thing? Yeah, obviously follow all our old players.
Yeah, definitely. And
I've got a massive subs bench here, in case you ask me.
Who's on your sub bench, right?
Well, the ones I haven't named, I'll go through them quick. Is obviously Reece Oxford, who's now playing in Germany. Yeah. Josh Pask, Ben Schiefer at Coventry, Robert Halls at Oxford, Elliot Lees at Luton, Moses McCassie, who's playing in Sweden, Nathan Trott, Jeremy Ngakia. I mean, people say, "Oh, the West Ham Academy, we produce players." Let's not forget. I know it's not always for West Ham, but we produce players.
And it's almost like, and it's like, and someone like Moses, for example. Moses was going to, he had a bit of a run in the squad, didn't he? If I remember, and it was like he was going to be like another. They sort of moved him into a bit like what they did with Deck. I'm pretty sure they put him into sort of central with like CDM.
He was a central midfielder predominantly, but he could play anywhere, Moses, which was good and bad for him, really. He used to be, he'll do a job here, he'll do a job there. He went to Holland for his first professional. Now he's in Sweden, but Moses McCassie's a good footballer. Trust me. He was a good player. And there's lots of good players who've gone for us. I mean, if you was talking to a coach from Arsenal, Tottenham, and Chelsea, would be saying the same things about their youth.
We're not. We're not though, Mark.
No, obviously we're not. We're talking about the best team in the world. But I always like to think that our players have got that extra something special, and they're not just as footballers, just as people.
Yeah.
Away from football, they're all decent blokes. Everyone.
Yeah. Well, I mean, more than anyone, it's like we've had, I think, like 40 odd ex-pros, I reckon, on our channel so far, and every one of them is sort of the earth. You know what I mean? Whether it's Tony Cottee or Jonathan Pantsill, they're all. I love Jonathan I love John Pantsill. He was lovely, such a lovely bloke.
What was Jonathan Pantsill's wearing? He used to wear some ridiculous clothes back in the
day. Yeah, he wore sort of Western clothes, but we spoke about that on a Thursday. He turned up because that's his birthday on a Thursday. That's the day he's born, so that's why he had to turn up in Ghanaian dress. But but everyone has so much nice things to say about West Ham, the setup, and it's like, and even these players and the bench as well. They've gone away to other clubs, and they still have West Ham sort of close to their heart more than some others, like people like Potsy, like Dan Potts and Ollie Lee and people like that. But yeah, and they've all had.
You do know there's another Potsy in coming through. He's playing for the 18s now, Freddie.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. And obviously we have like we've had Jonesy on, and he's got his boys in there as well in the setup.
His boy's name Liam Jones. Is exactly the same as Steve was. Absolutely lightning quick, absolutely rapid. Yeah, he's very similar to him.
It's lovely, isn't it? It's lovely when you see it's like he's the names that come up, Potsy and Lees, and they're all still sort of, and obviously Noble, not junior, but brother. I don't know how you sort of say that, but I mean, it's this ongoing carousel of ex players, their kids.
I mean, we've also got Conchi's boys now.
Yeah.
Conchi's boy Jim is in there. It's good. I mean, people often talk about the West Ham family, and they go, "Oh, is it true?" Yeah, it's true. I like to think it is true, without a shadow of doubt.
Really true. Mark, man, it's been lovely. It's been lovely chatting to you. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. But you're not your son anyway. It's like you're not working at the moment. So.
I haven't sent so many people to sleep anyway. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, it's brilliant. No, I love it. We all love it. Thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate it, Mark.
No problem. Thanks very much.
Thank you to everyone else for watching. Like, share, subscribe, whatever. From me and Mark, take care, everyone. Stay safe. Wash those hands. Come on, your irons. And we'll see you again very, very soon. Take care, everyone. Much love. Bye-bye.